You are now rocking with the best. This is the Hall About Sports podcast with your host, the one and only Meg Hall. If you don't know, now you know. I got co-host Kev with me, and we have an entire fleet of people. I don't even know if that's the word to describe, but it's a gaggle of folks here tonight. So we've got the entire AFC South with us tonight to talk the battle of the AFC South. Everybody, welcome. Thanks for joining.
What up?
Hello.
Absolutely.
Hello.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
So as you can hear, there's probably about, what is this, like 7 people? Yeah, this is definitely 7 people. This is the largest podcast we've ever had, so I'm super excited about it. Welcome to all of you. Let's do a quick rundown about what this is going to be about. So, of course, we're going to do the starting lineup. We want to figure out, like, where did you come from? How in the world did you become a Titans fan? I'm so sorry for you.
Didn't take long. Didn't take long.
Absolutely. Listen, you know how this goes.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Then we're going to do Battle of the South. So essentially, I've got a couple of questions I got for you guys. We're going to talk whether or not it's a really bad idea for the Titans to sign DHop. We're going to talk all those things. Sorry, James. I haven't seen you in a while, so you know how to
I know. Let's keep it coming. Let's get that.
All right, and then we'll do the post-game presser. So this is essentially like, hey, you get to ask me and Kev questions or anybody on the podcast questions because we have such a large number of folks. Like, hey, is cereal soup? What's your top 5 athletes of all time? Do you hate Oreos? I don't know. Pick something, and we usually will answer them. They make for some really good content. So everybody's good with that?
Yes.
Cool. All right. So we're going to start out a little light here. We're going to try to pretend like we like each other for a couple of minutes. Sam's like, no. She immediately was like,
we're ready to go.
She was like, absolutely not. Uh-oh, Sam, you're on mute if you're talking.
You're on mute. Come on, Jacksonville, hurry up and get fast and hit the mute button. Jesus. For a Jaguar, you're really
still on mute. Sam, you're still on mute.
So it begins.
It's the microphone button, Sam.
I muted on my computer, not on my mic. My bad.
There it is.
My bad.
There we go. All right.
All the bath sauce you've been taking.
Listen, I'm glad that I was muted though, because I wanted to keep this PG, and so
Okay.
Well, Jaguars usually are slow if they're covered in health code violations.
Sorry. All right. So since Chris and Sam seem to have a very friendly relationship going on, Sam's put on her sunglasses. Sam,
to my hater blockers.
I love it. I'm here for it. So tell the people, what do you do and how did you get into podcasting? Let's start there.
So I am, a mother, and I've been going to Jaguar games since I was, a young child myself, and decided to indoctrinate my children into this lifestyle. And I would stay up late at night wishing I had other people to fight with online. And I found when my kids were asleep, and I found AFC South Fan Battle. And actually, it was a group. It was just a group on Facebook. And a friend of mine who worked at 1010XL, which is a radio station in Jacksonville, was like, you guys should make that into content. That's actually great content. And so we did. And so now we are season 5.
5 years.
5 years. And you know what? I still haven't met some of these guys in real life, but we're going to make that happen soon. So,
Sam's the only one I did not met. I met Harish and Chris. Yep. Sam's the only one I have not met yet.
Actually, I think I've met Chris.
Well, besides Chris, because
Don't worry, Harish, we're changing that this year.
Yeah, Chris is my son. We just found that out today, so that's
long lost son. I love it.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm here for it. All right, Chris. So tell me, how did you get involved with these folks?
So I was just talking trash on the page one day, and then they were just like, "Hey, we need somebody to come on and provide us with premium content because we're doing the podcast." So I sat in, and I was just like, "Oh, this sounds like something that we'd be able to do." And then, bam, we just started doing the podcast. Sam started. It really hit its peak between Sam and I, because she needed me to come in and prove to everybody that I was one of her sports friends. And
I know where you're going with that. Stop it. Stop it.
But in all seriousness, it's like I hopped in the group because it randomly just like popped up. I think I maybe had a buddy who was in the group already, and I saw like the trash they were talking. Matter of fact, it's funny because Josh from the Horseshoe Mile podcast, the one that you were on last week. Thank you for being on there as well.
Shameless plug.
Him and I actually got into it because he misinterpreted something that I said. And every time I tell him, he's like, "Oh no, that never happened." I was just like, "Sir, that happened." But ever since then, we've been doing the AFC South Fan Battle podcast. When they said that we needed to branch out, then we started the Colts Fan Battle, aka Horseshoe Mob podcast. So, like I said, it's good people and Sam, and it's just like we're actually pretty good when it comes down to it. Like it works really well. I like the dynamic.
And so I guess let me just put these pieces together. So
I'm trying to be Megan, can I say something?
Yeah, go for it.
No.
I like you so much that I'm trying to be respectful. Okay. On your show. It's really hard. Okay. I got you though. I got your number. All right. So.
Wow. She said I'm gonna sleep with one eye open. That's what she said. She was like, I got you. All right, Matt. So I imagine that you got drug into all of this as well. Is this how you met these lovely folks?
I actually created it.
Oh,
yes.
Okay.
Yes. Me, my friend Tanner, who was a Titans fan here in Kansas, and Alex Perez, who was a Colts fan. We always talk trash on each other's Facebook. I was like, man, this is a great idea. Why not make this a group? So we made a group thinking like we get maybe 100 people. What was it, Sam? Like over a week,
10,000.
10,000.
Well, over the first week, it was like 2,000 quick, just like that. People was just just talking trash, and like Sam says, like, hey, we should make this a podcast. And every time somebody comes on, they're like, this is amazing content. We don't have content where you just sit there and trash talk about how Sam loves Jalen Ramsey or the Jaguars eating faces, going places.
Exactly. By the way, quick plug. Eating faces, going places. That's going to be an official shirt soon.
Matt, right?
Yeah.
Sam put her hater blockers back on.
Well, you had RJ on the show, correct?
Yes, we had RJ. Yeah.
He one time came on the show.
I'm sorry.
He came on the show one time and said that the Titans were going to straight up tickle the Bills, and like that was content.
No, he said. No, what he said was we were recapping the Bills game, and this was similar to the show that you were on, Megan, when Chris said what he said. He goes, I don't know what to say. Like, we didn't even do anything. We just went down there and tickled them, and I was like, what did you just say? I was like,
Megan,
did you just say tickled them?
Megan, when I tell you the way that Sam laughed when I said what I said when you were on the AFC South Fan Battle podcast, that's the way that I laughed when RJ said, he's like, yeah, man, it's just like, we just went down there, we just tickled them. We're just like, why was that where you went with that? Like,
it was so nonchalant too, right? It was just like,
the best part is like me and Chris's faces simultaneously in the little boxes. We're both like, what?
I just started laughing because there's nothing else I could have done.
My God, it was great.
But like, not just that, like the group has great content too. Like we had one Colts fan, I forget her name, I think it was like Irina or something like that. She said that the Colts were going to go to the supper bow.
They did that though. They did that.
We've been to a lot of
those banner. There's a banner up.
I had supper outside a lot last year.
Right, exactly. Right. And we had a guy who he spelled facts with a K instead of a T. So now that's just how the group, when somebody said that's facts, it's with a K. It's not with a T.
With a K.
I even on my personal Facebook. I like it.
Part of my everyday life.
Right. Everyday life is facts with the K.
Facts with the K. All right.
Yeah. Or don't at me. It's some great content that comes into these guys.
Yeah, that is kind of the cool thing is like, as much as like we feud, like the group itself we've all become super close, and like, it's all about hating each other for the right reasons, like being a Titans fan, for example,
we enjoying Mayo and putting those two with the NFL. It's one of the combinations.
Oh man,
we actually had a guy in the group. He went to Jacksonville. He was Blink-182's road crew. And he went to Jacksonville and looked like he was urinating on the field, had a picture of it. And he put it in a group and it blew up. Like everybody was so mad at him. Well, sadly, I want to say Sam, 2 months later, he had an accidental overdose.
Oh my
So
goodness.
we all came together and we raised, like, I want to say it close to $200-300. Sent the family flowers. And we're a family. At the end of the day, especially the admin chat, we the podcast people, we always, something happens, we're always there for each other. Like Sam said, we're a family at the end of the day, but we still support Sam's addiction to Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
We're a family, but all their teams suck, and only we know it.
Sam put her hater blocker back on. All right, so Harish, you got mixed up in with these folks too. Tell me about that. How did this happen?
Harish is like one of the OGs. He's like one of the very first Colts fans to jump on.
Yeah, so
Yep.
back when we were still like kind of good before Chris Ballard decided to throw the entire roster away, I think I just happened to stumble upon the group, right? And when I just started, got in and just started talking trash to people, and after that, they're like, "Hey, man, you want to come in and be on the podcast?" I was like, "Sure." I've always wanted to start a podcast. I just don't want to be the guy that starts it. So since then, really, been on pretty much all 5 years, I think. Yeah, just when I start to think of it. Unfortunately, since joining the group, the Colts have been on the downfall. So I think it's the reason why we suck. So I apologize to all Colts fans.
We love it.
As a resident troll, I think the group is a great place to express my trollness, and just to see the delusion of all the other fan bases on a daily basis just brings joy to my ears.
You know when the downfall started, Harish, in my opinion?
When you started selling Jalen Ramsey jerseys for money?
No, it's when you were doing the DeForest Buckner chants at the beginning of each show.
I am a DeForest Buckner stan. If that wasn't already
Yeah,
obvious.
he was doing a chant at the beginning of every show, and they've been on a downhill spiral since.
Listen, I love
So we
DeForest
have
Buckner.
we have you to blame for this.
Yes, I'm solely to blame for why Chris Ballard can't build a roster. It is my fault.
I'm not going to I can't solely blame you, Harish, okay? Because it's also possibly because Josh buys the QB's jersey for every QB that we've had. Just cover that.
Yeah,
I think he
that
has.
could also be it.
I think he has a Wentz jersey. I was like, this is going to end badly.
He even has a Jim Sorgi jersey. So.
Oh my gosh. Max
Does he have a Minshew?
No,
Does he have a Minshew jersey?
No,
Who's
Sam,
that?
he doesn't
I
have a
didn't know they
Minshew
made
jersey.
Sorgies. I thought you had to get that
Yeah.
custom.
I need to go look it up. I was actually questioning it myself, honestly. But-
All right, so Kev and
Put him on
James,
the
I
shirt.
saved you two for kind of the last folks to round this out. So I guess we'll start with you, James, because Kev, you're here with me all the time. So James, tell the people how you know Kev and how you know, I guess, me even as well, if you want to include that.
Yeah, I was going to say, I know you and Kev through our days at Stadium Rant when you guys were searching around for a Titans host. And ever since the fallout of the number 1 seed and the subsequent A.J. Brown trade, we kind of hide. We've been hidden away. Like, it's hard to find us.
Don't
Somehow
blame
you
me.
guys found me. That's how I got my start. Now, oh, get out of here. See, doesn't have a name. Facebook user. Get out of here. It's not true. Not true.
Classic Jags fan.
I see my boy Max Brady in there cheering on the Titans. We'll take that. But now I'm with Bite Size with Kev, and we do a weekly NBA show every Thursday. And if you've been following along at all, I said the Nuggets were going to win it in December, and got it right, Kev.
There you go.
It's always the
Look at
Nugs.
you.
Oh,
Okay. Oh,
that's
no,
the
not
first
even
thing
always
I
the
have to
Nugs.
say.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
If only you were that right about the Titans.
Sam's not even listening.
Oh no, man! The Titans, we got problems. We got problems.
Fair enough.
Oh, okay.
It's a lot
Someone's got
like
a
what
good
you guys got
question.
going on, though. A lot of our
Yeah.
creators, we talk trash with each other. It's a lot of good times. We hang out. We're very close. We got an NFL show that's actually going on right now. So please don't tell them, but I'm always here with Meg instead. But when we're done here, go hang out with Bite Size Sports. Go watch Necessary Roughness.
Those are my guys. Yeah, I was on Necessary Roughness as well last year with Stadium Rant before it transitioned over to Bite Size. So good content as well.
That's a great name. I
Yeah.
love that name.
Unnecessary.
Necessary.
roughness.
No, necessary.
Necessary
Right?
Roughness.
Necessary.
Necessary
Necessary
Roughness.
Roughness. Yeah.
It's a good one.
I like that.
Yeah, it was really fun. So the concept of the show essentially is just, hey, it was kind of like almost like a report out of the of the week or whatever else, any of the pertinent topics. And it started off as just like a way to just kind of recap, and then it became kind of this like, hey, we're going to take digs at each other sort of thing. Because we had a Vikings fan. There's what other fans we have on there, Kev? There was a couple different teams.
Yeah, now it's what? Packers, Bills,
Yeah.
and Vikings. So we still
Yeah.
have
Okay,
our
yeah.
devout
Wow.
Vikings fan who
Yeah,
honestly
he's still there.
is a part-time Chargers fan, if we're being honest about it.
Part-time
Oh,
Don't
wow.
do that.
Chargers fan.
Does he like live in LA or something like that? So he supports the Chargers, or
Oh,
No,
that's
he
We have
dives too
a
deeply into
couple
those
fans like
stats,
that.
you know? He's in
Yeah.
love with them.
All right, so we're gonna transition. We're gonna
Oh,
talk
God.
battle of the AFC South.
Sounds
We got
bad.
a really
That's a
spicy-
good question.
Yeah, we got a really spicy question. So this one was not in my list of questions that I plan on asking you guys, but we're gonna start from the top rope. So, what was the worst football decision? Trading AJ Brown or extending Blake Bortles?
Ooh.
Chris
Ooh.
immediately was like, "Please, pick
Chris
me."
is ready to roll.
All right,
Oh,
Chris, go for it.
I'm sorry, that's a trick question. The answer is both. But but you know, no, it's Jags right now have Trevor Lawrence, and they probably have more upside now. So the Bortles decision, I can't say is bad because it ended up with them eventually getting probably the best quarterback they've ever had. The Titans, however, they traded away AJ Brown, went and got a guy you can't keep away from Krispy Kreme, and then they end up going on a 7-game losing streak to go 7-10 on the whole entire year. The answer is very clear. And not only that, AJ Brown had the best career year that he's ever had and went to the Super Bowl. And the Titans completely missed the playoffs. So the answer is trading AJ Brown.
He is
was
correct.
the worst football decision.
I would think so too. Except you know, Chris, I don't know if I like Krispy Kreme. I thought his preference was cheeseburgers.
Yep, cheeseburgers.
Yeah.
Cheeseburgers?
So
Well,
yeah.
Well, you know what? He probably pulled a Luther. He probably had like the cheeseburger and then just put like 2 glazed donuts on each side and then
Oh
just
my
kind of
God.
ate it.
Oh,
And then he
Nasty.
put mayonnaise in between those two, right? And then, like, kinda
Probably.
smush it together. Try to make it a grilled cheese.
That was just so that it went down smoothly.
Oh my God.
You know, I'll take one further. I wouldn't say it's trading AJ Brown. It's not giving AJ Brown the money. Like,
yeah.
dude, what were you thinking? Like, I
Just
mean,
give it to him. Like,
yeah,
Oh,
I agree with Titans fans. He wasn't the best receiver in Titans history, but he was going to be. Like,
He
that
absolutely
was
was
your
going to be, yeah, yeah.
future.
he was
Like,
trending
why, like,
in the direction. Yeah.
easily.
Especially in a league when you need a number one. Like,
Premium
wide
position.
receiver-
Right,
wide receiver
especially
run is a
especially
premium
when you have an aging quarterback in Ryan Tannehill. You need a security blanket. I mean,
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
up? Come
And
on
they
now.
just said, "Nah, we're good, guys. We got this. You can
Well,
have
Listen,
it."
We'll just give the guy who can't
I
go to
don't
station
understand
games.
not paying him. What were you going to do other than pay him? Like, what was your plan other than that? Because who was going to fulfill that production? There was
True.
no
Nobody.
one on the roster that could step up there.
Yeah.
And to make matters worse, when you go play the Eagles last season,
Oh my
he
Lord.
undressed, unraveled the entire team.
Remember when he
Like,
had a touchdown catch and then it was ruled not a touchdown catch? So what did he do?
He
He
went
just caught a
back,
touchdown
just
catch
did
on the very
another
next
one.
play. He's like, "Hey guys, watch this. You didn't think that was good? Watch this one."
I
like
just wanted to
Yeah.
I
in the
actually,
cra- Go ahead, Sam.
I was gonna say I'd actually like to reframe this question a little bit better because I mean I feel like it's kind of obvious, but I feel like it would be like, what hurts more? Okay, finding out that AJ Brown was traded in the middle of the draft, or watching your $88 million quarterback break his clavicle 11 snaps into the first game of the season, because that was worse. In my opinion,
watching
all I feel
video.
is pain.
that was worse. And it was like super freaking hot that day. So it was like literal hell. Like I was in hell.
You paid a mediocre quarterback $88 million.
11 snaps.
Break his 11 snaps into the season. Yeah. Yeah, that's brutal. Hey, at least you didn't pay a 39-year-old quarterback $40 million, right?
That's like y'all's thing at this point.
I
Right?
mean, we didn't pay him $40 million.
Not anymore.
The Falcons did, but
Yeah. We took the rollover and then cut him before he could do any more.
yes, I mean, now we got some dead cap money, but not $40 million in dead cap money. I'm so sorry to my husband who is probably watching this. But just saying.
No, he has to live with that. Megan's husband, I assure you.
I don't know you, but I just want to let you know.
I'm completely unbiased when it comes to your Falcons, but for that Matt Ryan debacle, I hope he still has dead money on y'all cap.
Also, real quick, just side note to your husband, please take care of Bijan Robinson, because as a Texas fan, I will be really, really upset if anything happens to that guy.
Listen, I'm not gonna lie. So when the Falcons drafted Bijan, I like a couple days before I'd sent my husband a text and I was like, hey, they're talking about Bijan to the Falcons. He's like, oh, I don't know if they're going to get him. Like that would be a pipe dream, blah, 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 blah. Right. So it happens. Right. And I like immediately texted him and I was like, yo, like I'm stoked like for them or whatever else. And I'm sitting with another Falcons fan who had the complete opposite reaction. He's like, why are we drafting running backs when we have so many other needs? And I'm like, this is Bijan Robinson. Like, what are we talking about here?
Talking
Like,
about generational.
This is the best running back in the entire draft. You're talking about potentially a generational talent at running back, and you're upset because your team drafted him. Like it was the disparity is crazy. Like I had to put that in.
I feel like that. I feel like that happens every draft. Like
like
have two sides of the coin.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like Texans fans booing JJ Watt. Like
Max.
Max says they want him to be Henry.
He's better. He's different. He's not. I'm not going to say better than Henry.
He's
more
very
versatile. He's more versatile than Henry.
Much better.
He's more of a Marshall Falk than a Derek.
I was going to say that. Yeah, Marshall Falk is probably
comparison.
a better comparison.
Yeah.
He's not going to run over you.
Yeah.
He's not going to run over you. He's very elusive, quick on his feet, can run routes really well for a running back, can catch the ball very well. And just is an unreal in space. Like if there's one thing I loved about Bijan, is just the way that he moved in space, just in general.
Would agree. All right, so this question is actually for James because I want to hear from the Titans fan on the podcast here.
What's your favorite mayo brand?
That was not the question at all.
So Harish, I had a question. So when Will Levis takes over as a starting quarterback, it'll be next year. Do I have to drink mayo in my coffee from now on and eat bananas with the peels on? That's
you already do.
He's
not the starter yet. He's not the starter yet. Like I can hold out, right?
Yeah, you already do. It's fine.
And if you say you don't, we know you're lying. So
I mean, which brand of mayo would you prefer? Is it Hellman's? Is it Miracle Whip? Like Duke's?
Miracle Whip. It's got to be Miracle Whip, right?
It's
got to be Miracle Whip.
I mean,
there's a reason why.
I mean, that describes the hope that you have in Will Levis, right? Miracle Whip. So
that's what I was gonna say.
Yes.
There's a reason why all the mayonnaise brands colors match the Titans. It was just destined to
happen. Man, it's gonna be like this, isn't it?
It is. All right.
So,
James,
maybe before you jumped into James' question here, I'll tell a quick story. So Sam calls me and we're talking about the podcast, and she's like, "Hey, I got a lot of cabbage. How do I make coleslaw?" I said, "You just tighten up. Just put a crap load of mayonnaise in it."
That's so funny.
I'll give you credit.
That is a good one.
Yeah, I'll take that. Yep.
That sounded like a dad joke, but it's actually pretty funny.
No, and it's actually
that was definitely a dad joke.
That actually really happened.
Very well. Yep.
We took that heat
so it really
for
happened.
months.
Yeah,
I love it. I'm sorry, James, but for months everybody thought that was going to be us. And Titans fans especially were brutal to me about my future quarterback.
Same here.
So let it rain down on you. I'm so
shame
sorry.
there, James.
We
All right,
traded
James.
Never let it go.
So this
All right,
question
Meg, what
is
do you got
for
for
you.
me?
I need you to grade the other teams in the divisions off season. So you cannot give your team a grade. We're not going to grade your team. Nope. I need you to grade the Colts off season, the Jags off season, the Texans off season. A, B, C, D, E, and then of course, hey, E is, I don't know,
E?
Inexplainable, but F of course is there.
That could be
Unexplainable. But yeah, grade the other teams off season.
Does Calvin Ridley count for the offseason for the Jaguars?
It counts, yeah, it counts.
I give them a B just for him. I love him. I think that's a fantastic ad. Like the rich get richer in this division. Colts, by virtue of not drafting Will Levis, I'll give the Colts a B+, and the Texans I'll give an A because I love CJ Stroud.
Okay.
I absolutely love CJ Stroud.
Me too.
I wanted Titans to take him bad.
Hey Max, if you're a hater, just say that.
I think personally, I know I can't do it, but I think the Titans had the worst offseason of the division.
Same.
Sorry,
All
I
right.
love that team. They're my boys. But
So Max left a comment. He said the Colts have a D, the Jags have a C, and the Texans have an A.
Max's comment is an F. Okay.
All right, so I appreciate that. I think that's probably one of the more like resound like grades that I've heard. I just wanted to hear that from you because we hadn't talked in a while. I was curious about your thoughts.
I'm glad you put that on me. Yes.
Yes. All right, so we're gonna keep with you and we're gonna talk DHop. So when I signed on to the podcast, Matt had not Matt, sorry, James. I'm looking at Matt and I'm looking at James at the same time, but so James has DHop signed in the bottom of his name. Has he signed yet? And I want to know, like, what are your thoughts? Everyone on the podcast, of course, don't everybody jump at once, but does signing DHop move the needle for the Titans in the way that they expect it to? No. Sam, I'll start with you because you already started nodding. So what do you think?
I think, in my opinion, as somebody who hates the Titans,
common around here.
Okay, that will be very scary.
Wow. Okay.
I think really? That will be yes, because he'll be a weapon. He'll be filling in something. I mean, of course, they need, offensive line.
Scary as in like everybody will run from the stadium when he doesn't play half the season? Or
no, I mean it has the potential to be. I mean, DHop's good. That's a great pickup. I mean, and how much cap space do they even have right now?
Yeah.
They have $9 million cap space, but they have projected like $150 million next year, so they can.
It's a gap filler. It's somebody that makes you a contender, where as before you're like, oh, okay, the Titans, it kind of goes, ooh, okay, it makes them a little bit.
Not scaring you?
Makes it a little bit more scary.
30?
I would disagree. I don't even think they're I would disagree on them not being them being a contender because I don't think the addition of DHop is going to move that wide receiver room enough.
Yeah.
No.
And that offense enough to make them an instant contender.
So,
like they could probably contend for the division.
Yeah.
It still makes them
about is that enough to beat like the KCs, the
No. Okay,
I don't think.
Yeah, I'm speaking on behalf of just the AFC South. So
I'm
a battered and abused Jaguars fan who has spent since 1995. Just my Super Bowl is beating the Titans.
I gotta write this time.
We ran over you guys for a lot of years in a row until this year.
So that's all I want, and then that makes that scary because I just want to at least go to the playoffs. That's all I want. Okay.
Sam really wants to have a really good first time ever in her life back-to-back season, and the Titans getting DHop ruins that for her.
That part.
Yes.
I think that's where Sam's hurting, but that's okay,
what you got,
Sam.
Matt.
So we already this is kind of like DHop boo, right? Like because we said the same thing about Julio Jones. Like we like, oh man, this is gonna make same kind of same.
Look at James' face.
Very same.
Randy Moss,
but also
Andre
Johnson, yeah.
Yes, but here's another thing you're not counting, and I know this very well. Tim Kelly is a horrible offensive coordinator. Y'all can say that.
Bring him on. I'm so happy to have him after last year's mess.
After Downing?
After Downing. Oh, Downing's gone. Shoot him away.
I'm telling
you, Todd Downing in person.
You do not want a former defensive tackle as your offensive coordinator.
Ask the Patriots.
Exactly. Look at Mac Jones. And you're right, Sam. It would make him dangerous if they didn't have Brian Tannehill or Will Levis as quarterback. I'm not sold on Ryan Tannehill. Getting injured, inconsistent. And he's another year older, so I'm not sold on him yet. Mm-hmm. Especially Will Levis. I mean, he's a rookie, so.
I mean, listen, I got a little nervous during that last Jags-Titans game, and that was with Josh Dobbs. So I'm just saying.
Yeah. It wasn't a fumble. Just admit it.
I think
it's honestly.
Go ahead, Chris.
I don't think you get DHop. Does it make the team better? Yeah, but does it make them better to where it's just like they're going to be in a position they've been in previously? Not really. Like we're talking about a team that generally goes through the run regardless. Now the thing is, if you realize anything that you do with DHop, are you going to get DHop in there to possibly run block? I don't think you're bringing in DHop to run block. You're bringing in DHop to put him out on routes, have him in one-on-one or two-on-one situations where you're going to pass downfield. You don't have that with Ryan Tannehill. You for damn sure are probably not going to have that with Will Levis. Like I said, DHop being on the team makes the wide receiver room better, but I don't think it makes the offense much better because that scheme isn't a one wide receiver scheme. A.J. Brown ate off the fact that you have 8 people in the box and you have to account for Derrick Henry every single time. teams aren't going to be playing that offense the same way now, especially not with Traylon Burks. With DHop, you might be able to draw some things up, but I don't see that with Tim Kelly.
Yeah, Tim Kelly's offense is literally stare down DeAndre Hopkins until he's open. I mean, being serious, look at Deshaun Watson. All the when he got kicked in the eye by the Raiders, he was looking for DeAndre Hopkins. That amazing pass against the Bills. He was so great at making plays because he was staring down one receiver. Ryan Tannehill is not that guy.
To be fair, the one good season Ryan Tannehill ever had in his existence was when he stared down AJ Brown for an entire season. So
That's correct.
I mean, it's possible that's the hope that he's trying to create, where it's like, man, I'm getting run over. Let's just throw the ball up in the air, and DeAndre Hopkins jumps 18 feet in the air to go.
But the offensive line was a lot better too. I mean, Ben Jones.
You don't need that to throw it in the air. You just throw it up and hope he gets it, right? I mean,
but you're also not throwing streaks the whole time. I mean, putting 8 in the box means that eventually AJ Brown's going to be open on a slant across the field.
Hey, children, this is Megan's show. Okay, pipe down.
You're all good. I was letting it go for a little bit. I was like, we're deep in the trenches over here.
I just know how they are. This will go on for 10 minutes.
Breaking news. Jaguars have chosen a new mascot. It will now be Master Splinter in light of all the rats in the stadium.
Oh my gosh.
Brady's the official sponsor.
Hey, by the way, hey, Megan, fun fact. Those are the sunglasses that Sam wears when she gets a little tipsy off of one White Claw.
Ain't no laws when you're drinking claws now.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, that defines Florida, right?
Oh my Lord. All right, so let's start with this one. And this one actually, Kev, this one's actually for you, and this is for the group as well. But I've heard this a lot, and I'm curious to get your thoughts on it. This is actually from Texans fans. We've heard it a lot that they believe Demeco Ryans will have a phenomenal season, and they're not sold particularly on Shane Steichen. So my question, I've heard it from a number of Texans fans. Hey, so
don't put that. Okay, that's not me.
Blake said this yesterday.
Let you know that.
So my question is, who will be a better coach in his first 2 seasons? Do you think it'll be Demeco Ryans, or do you think it'll be Shane Steichen?
First 2 seasons. Well, you had me there in that first half because I was about to say, oh, okay, very nice. All right. Yeah, I can get behind Demeco here. But I was not like all the other Colts fans at the Horseshoe Pride podcast. I was not so jazzed for Steichen at first. He was not my number 1 option, but I've come around. I've gotten pretty excited.
Demeco was your number 1, wasn't he?
I think he was actually. He was up there. I had defensive guys up there. Yeah, Demeco was definitely up there at the time. I don't know. First 2 years. Man, this one's tough, man. I'm gonna get
that's a really good
cast.
Question.
I'm gonna get cast aside by my own here. I think because I don't think Colts fans are gonna like my answer.
Go for it. I'm here for the chaos. Here for it.
Yep. Give me Demeco in the first 2 years. I think I don't know what to think about this Colts team for this first year. I feel like we're in some weird limbo, not quite a full rebuild. And
you just now feel like that, or
no? I felt like that about week 7 of last year is when I finally admitted it. Yeah.
Oh, I get it.
It was around it. It was like Matt Ryan's 11th or 12th fumble was when I finally was like, okay.
Yeah.
That was definitely early in the season.
Oh, it's probably like week 3. Like, yeah. I was like, I was pretty early on the.
It was one of those like freeze frame. You're probably wondering how I got here. Like
right.
exactly what happened.
This is Matt Ryan, and his favorite word is fumble, and he just did it again as I just said this next sentence. Yeah, that's where I was.
Yeah, as a Texans fan, I gotta say Ryans only because I'm not with that Texans that you just described, Megan. I do not believe that. I think I've been saying this from the get-go. Shane Steichen and Anthony Richardson is a scary duo. Like that scares the living crap out of me. But it's going to take Anthony Richardson 3 to 4 years, maybe 2, to actually get together and get the ball rolling. So I think Demeco is going to get the jump. CJ Stroud's already there. I mean, the dude's the most accurate quarterback in the college. So I got to go to Demeco.
Yeah, see, in year 3,
Talk
Talk
about
about
bias.
might be different. But
I'm okay with
know,
it.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I'm here for the bias. Like you can be, it's okay to not have shame
Mhm.
today. Like it's totally fine.
Oh, team no
Yeah.
shame. Got it.
No,
Woo.
no shame.
Yep.
I will take Demeco as well, and I think it's less about Demeco and more about CJ Stroud. I always wanted CJ Stroud on the Colts. When I first said it,
Mhm.
I didn't think we would have been poor enough, and then Matt Ryan fumbled again. I was like, you know what? Maybe this is a possibility.
Shots.
Yeah. So no, I mean, Chris could probably, all these guys could probably tell you, I really wanted CJ Stroud. I was trying to find every way to figure it out. I wasn't actually high on the AR pick at first. I kind of had to talk myself into it. It's kind of the same with the Shane Steichen thing, and I think my reason behind why I had to talk myself into it is because Chris Ballard bought himself another 4 years of potential mediocrity, and it really upset me.
Don't even get me started. I will take up the rest of this podcast.
Beef with Ballard bonus segment.
We have an entire segment called Beef with Ballard because of Chris
I
Ballard.
can't wait. I can't wait.
Pretty good.
That is good.
Not even gonna lie.
These guys
Not
will
even
tell
gonna lie.
you that I was like really, really high on Ballard, but after the last 2 seasons and just abysmal shit show we've gone through.
I thought it was gonna be Sam first. Jeez, Harish.
Yeah, I don't know.
I can behave.
I'm not. I jumped off the Frank Reich bandwagon really quickly. Climbing mountains was getting really boring for me.
He went as far as calling him Potato Head and had a big old potato head.
Oh man, I used to call him Potato Head Right. And I even on one of our shows, like for like a good 6 weeks, I had him as my background, and it was like came in a potato head in a potato head Photoshop. I was pretty tired of Reich. So yeah, I'll take Ryans, but I don't think I think it's less of Ryans and more of what he's getting with Stroud, and he's actually inheriting his fairly solid defense. Adding Will Anderson to that defense, I think is actually really scary. So I'm not saying that Ryans is bad, but I think he's also inheriting much more put together team than what Shane's got.
I don't see it. I'm going to be the guy. I'm going to say Steichen. I'm going to say Steichen.
Matt almost came unraveled. He was like, "What? Run that by me again."
The Shane Steichen?
There was always going to be one in the group. There was always going to be one.
I know one homer. I get it.
I'm usually the one. I'm whatever. I have no problem with that. I think when we're looking specifically at the quarterback position, but we're not looking at the team as a whole. Demeco, to me, is going to be able to do wonders for that defense. But offensively, I don't see it necessarily automatically translating because, that team, yes, you have Pierce, you do have CJ Stroud, but the thing is, how is that going to come together? You don't know what you have in John Mechie yet, even though the potential's through the roof. And then on top of that, who else do you have? You have Nico Collins.
Schultz.
You have Tank Dell.
Robert Woods.
Robert Woods.
James.
Another great Titans.
Another great Titans receiver.
Titans legend.
But for me personally, I think it's Isaiah Rodgers and whatever he has going on, the defense on the Colts side, I think is going to be much better than advertised. So then it's just going to come down to the offense.
Question is, do you still have Gus Bradley?
Yeah.
Okay, it's going to be terrible. Okay, it's all right. Go ahead.
Wow. Because it was a top 10 defense last season.
It was a jab.
I will go to war about my defense. The offense may be trash, but I will go to war about this defense.
It was more of a jab to Sam, but she's not even paying attention. So.
Oh, I'm paying attention. I actually just shared this and said this is a Sam hater show. Okay, so.
Please join us.
But honestly, it's in terms of the offense, I'm not going to say that the offense is going to just go out and do all these magical things. If you do just enough to be able to put yourself in a position to score, the defense is going to do what they need to do. Yes, we lost Gilmore, but at the same time, I think Brent is going to be somebody who's going to be underrated. I think Rush is going to be super underrated coming in too. So I think honestly, it's just they're going to get it together. The offense to me is going to be better than advertised, but
So
That's
we'll
my
see. We'll
We'll
see.
see.
All right, let's go. Let's keep rolling because we got some other good ones. So I want to ask this question. This is for everybody. So I've been seeing a lot of comments lately on the timeline about OTAs and minicamp and whether or not you think said quarterback is trash because of the clips that you're seeing on Twitter, the 7-second clips that show an errant throw, the 10-second clips that show, a pick six or whatever else. So my question, and I see all of you rolling your eyes, which is hilarious. So at the same time, Sam, hold on, I'm coming to you. My question
Sam loves
to you,
7-second clips.
my question to you guys is, how much stock do you put into OTAs and minicamp?
Go ahead, Sam. You were with your hand raised.
Go for it, Sam.
Yeah.
You love
Well,
OTAs,
I
man.
just had like a question to that. When you talk about that with the 7-second clips, are you talking about like what people are saying about Anthony Richardson?
So it's Anthony Richardson, it's Will
Will
Levis.
Levis.
Yeah,
Those two mainly I've been
Okay.
seeing them get like kind of shredded for these, like,
Mhm.
for example,
yeah.
I'll give you a perfect example. So I shared in our AFC South group chat, like, hey, Anthony Rich, it was a positive, like, sort of thing. Hey, he was on 7-on-7 work. He had a 60-yard bomb for a touchdown. Cool. And then, like, I stepped away from my phone and I went to my kitchen to make some food and came back, and it was filled with about 15 messages after that of, well, to be fair, he threw a pick on the next play. And oh, by the way, yeah, like I said, he was inconsistent. Like, it was literally like filled with that. And it's the same thing with, like, for example, Baker Mayfield has not been looking, quote unquote, great in OTAs and minicamp because, hey, you're getting into a new system, things like that.
Calvin Ridley made a incredible one-handed catch. Now Jaguar fans says, "Oh, this is our year to go back."
Comeback player of the year. He's
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
So, but that's my question: is how much
Did he win
stock do you
comeback player of
put
the year?
into these
That's a good question.
off-season activities?
Well, I will say as a Gator fan, I'm going to pray for you guys. But not really, because I want to continue beating you at home. But I don't put much stock into it. They're not required. I don't feel like, of course, you're paying these people like a lot of money. Obviously, that's always the argument. Oh, these players are getting paid. Okay, cool. But like, you don't get a day off. Sorry, you're not. Sorry, you can't, run a 40 in 5 seconds. I don't know what to say. But, I feel like these aren't to be taken seriously. People are not trying to throw their arms out or, whatever.
You can also
It's like,
frame it any way you want.
This is the warm up.
Right.
You warm up before practice. This is a warm up to the hard playing. And
I would think that you would want to make the mistakes now. Like,
Right.
you want to make
Right.
the mistakes now.
Yes.
You don't want to
Exactly.
make them when you're, 10 games into the season.
Yeah.
And I
Exactly.
think people are forgetting that, and they're just, they're taking the very first, hint of any sort of like unbalance,
Negative.
and they're like,
Yep.
that's right. Oh, I told you about this guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, these dudes have been in this system for 6 weeks. 6 weeks. They've been a professional. 6 weeks. And you're telling me you're expecting perfection in 6 weeks?
So
Mhm.
you've never mastered your job in 6 weeks, Megan? Is that what you're telling me?
No. I'm telling you right now, the current job that I work
Unbelievable.
right now,
Unreal.
is the steepest learning curve I've ever had in my life.
Yeah.
And it's also, side note, it's also the most money I've ever made in my life as well. So
Hey,
Nice.
do with that information what you will.
Mhm.
But my
Hi-yo.
point being is that
Girl boss.
it took me just a little bit, but it took me about 6 months before I finally knew what the heck I was doing, like in my role. And I'm being asked to make decisions on the daily where I'm like, I can't even tell you what we do. Like, because it's so complex. But like, you know what I mean? So that's why when I asked that question, it was also more for me because I was getting frustrated with people like, not just our quarterback, not just, Anthony Richardson, but like Will Levis, Baker Mayfield, like all these quarterbacks that are in newer systems. Several people have new head coaches, new coaching staffs, new wide receivers, all that. Like, you're expecting it to just click like that. And it's just
That's something
unrealistic.
that's something that people don't take into consideration. Like, the couch coaches of the world love to sit there and make their comments, but like, you're talking like dealing with, this goes much further than football. Football is a mind sport too. You're having to learn routes and plays and get to know the people. Like, you're trying to build bonds with these people because it's a team, so you're not just going to go out there and, this is more of like the bonding experience. That's why typically it's only the new guys that first show up. So I never take stock.
And what a lot of people
Off-season boredom.
a lot of
Oh,
people
you
forget
stole my
too
word.
is from the NFLPA, the CBA agreement. There's so many reps that each player can get. So you got to count that in. Like, yeah, okay, Anthony Richardson might have one good play and bad 4 plays. Well, that's only because he has 4 plays. Like, he has to split the reps. That's why, you give these guys some time. It's really not that serious. Like my boy VT loves the OTAs. Like he's all about, yeah, you see what CJ Stroud is? Like, bro, it's practice, man. Like, don't get hyped.
It's actually funny.
Practice, not a game.
Practice.
It's actually funny because like I pretty much only watch football, but I watch other sports, when Florida teams are playing or something. So for example, the Florida Panthers and the Miami Heat were playing. And I was like, hurry up because I'm watching the NBA finals or whatever. And someone's like, oh yeah, the Heat, does so-and-so play? I said, do you want me to be honest? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, I don't even care. It's just OTAs. No one cares about OTAs. I'm just trying to bide my time until the training camp. I really don't know.
Yeah.
So OTAs is mainly meant to kind of get a feel for, this is literally the bare bones framework of what your offense, what your defense is going to look like. You're looking for, hey, who might be fighting for a roster spot early on, guys we need to keep an eye on. Like, it's not meant to be like the end all be all, because how many times have we seen folks like light it up in OTAs? Oh, they're throwing all over the place. Like, for example, I'm just gonna take the Colts because this is the best example I got, and I'm so sorry, Kev and Harish and Chris, ahead of time. But like OTAs for the Colts last year, training camp for the Colts last year, Matt Ryan and that offense was like clicking. Like, it was great. It was phenomenal. Everyone's thinking the Colts are going to win 12 games. Like, cool. And then you win 4 games in a season. You go 4-12-1. Like, that's my point, is like, you got to take these with like a grain of salt. Like, just grain of salt.
I usually chalk it up to boredom.
Yeah. I was about to say, like, we from the Super Bowl all the way until I think the combine, there's literally nothing going on. So the thing is, it's just like you spend from February all the way up until the beginning of May just basically speculating about your team. And also, I'm going to say that, like, when it comes to football, fans just frequently are just looking for some type of news, something with your team, because we only play 17 games a season. It's not like the NBA where you have 82 games or the MLB where you have 160 some games. We literally have these 17 games to look at for the entire year, and then playoffs, and then we have nothing. So I think it's just like, it just piques that interest. So as soon as, you see the first thing with Anthony Richardson, like, this is a fan base that's been clamoring for something to look forward to at quarterback ever since he who shall not be named, right?
Andrew Luck, is that who that is?
So
too soon.
Damn, I thought we were friends. Like, I really thought we were friends.
Oh no, I take that back. I take that back, Megan only.
I wasn't sure for an either.
Hey,
Sam.
That's fair.
That's fine. That's why Leonard Fournette got a Super Bowl. But basically,
hold on. You forgot Blake Bortles.
Jalen Ramsey has one too.
Oh, Blake Bortles got one too.
And Blake Bortles.
But the thing is, like I said, but right now we're looking for anything. Like, we're looking for anything as football fans. So I think, even though a lot of times, like, a lot of fan bases can be unrealistic about what it is that they see at OTAs, it's surely just the excitement of everything going on. Like, that's what you're looking forward to. So I think for us, it's just like, it's a combination of, like Harish said, boredom, but I think it's also the fact that it's just like, we're looking for any type of football action that we can see out there.
I think the NFL is missing, like, on some great content. Like, reality is like the biggest thing right now on TV. If they could just, each team have a camera there and just film, like you said, boredom. Us NFL fans don't care what's going on. We will pay to watch nothing because we miss our team so much. Like, NFL would be making bucks right now if they just be like, oh, hey, look, Anthony Richardson walking down the sidewalk. Like, Colts fans be like, so
I mean, that's accurate. That's
right.
Like, look, he's carrying a football with him to the store. Oh my God.
Right.
Working with ball security.
He's so dedicated. Look at that guy.
He's not going to fumble like that old quarterback we had.
Wow. Wow.
Exactly. Definitely.
Which
All
one?
right.
Which old quarterback?
Wow. Wow. Sam, I really thought we were friends. Like, this is how you treat me. I bring you on my show, and this is the thanks I get. Like,
I'm sorry, it's
kidding.
it's Chris Jackson's fault.
You're getting
I'm
really
totally-
comfortable on this show.
Hey,
You're really quiet
Hey,
for
Megan,
me.
calling the health inspector to the stadium. I bet that'll shut her up quick.
That's why we're building a new one.
Yeah, to keep the ants out.
And that's
or
in the
just-
shape of a toilet bowl. You're going from one poopy situation to another.
Oh my
Don't mind
God.
them playing in the NASCAR stadium for the next 2 years.
Yeah, I saw that. I did see that.
Middle of the
Might as well
infield.
just go to London where it actually can where you should actually belong. Never mind.
All right.
Listen,
so
you guys have said that joke so many times that it literally can't physically come out of your mouth anymore.
It's like Mayo and the Titans. So
Yeah,
No,
so-
that'll never get
Jack-
old. That's different.
London and the Jaguars is like.
all right,
London and the
I
Titans.
got one question left for you guys in this segment, then we'll go into the post game presser. So my question for you, and I'm going to start actually with Kev, and we'll go across the kind of the screen here, so to speak. What player should have a chip on their shoulder this season? Give me one player from the Colts who should have a chip on their shoulder.
You need to go upstairs to take a shower.
Ooh, one Colts player that should have a chip on their shoulder, huh? Jonathan Taylor. He's going to have to reassert himself as the best running back in the division after missing out with that ankle injury that he got rushed back into playing too early. It cost him even more time.
Yep.
He
Thanks,
probably has something to prove.
Got hurt
Yeah.
against who, Kev?
I
Against
don't
who?
remember. I blacked
I
all
didn't
of last
watch
season
football
out.
last year.
After the Minnesota game, I just said, nope, we're deleting all of this information.
Oh.
I'll see you next time.
Blacked it out. Just
I felt like that game felt like an OTA, honestly.
Yeah. Pretty much.
All right. Harish, one player from the Colts who should have a chip on their shoulder.
Kenny Moore, the second.
Good one.
The second.
Yeah, you got to be
My
specific.
guy.
Yeah.
He, in my opinion, Kenny Moore has not been good ever since he was named to the Pro Bowl 2 years ago. And that celebration, right? He has been horrible since then, in my opinion. I think he's got to come out. Last year he struggled. He's not really a scheme fit in this scheme, and I think that's where I'll chalk this up to. But even knowing that he's not a scheme fit, I just feel like he acts like he doesn't care anymore. He got his bag. He got his Pro Bowl. He's just chilling. I need something from Kenny Moore this year because I'm actually shocked he wasn't traded.
Noted. Okay. All right, James. One player from your team who should have a chip on their shoulder.
from my team,
Yeah.
Ryan Tannehill.
You got enough room for another one?
A lot of hate, man. A lot of hate. That bad offensive line, like he got chased around, got hurt a lot last year. They want to mess around and don't know if they want to trade him, keep him. I'm gonna give him the chip on the shoulder. Like he's got a little something to prove. Now, the offensive line that they patchwork together, that is ranked, if you look anywhere from the highest you'll see it as 31st in the league to the lowest is 32nd. If they are bad, he's just going to get hurt again this year, and that's going to be it for him. But he's in his last year, and I think he's got a little something to prove, especially when that guy named DeAndre Hopkins comes around. Him and Traylon Burks out there, Chig.
Yeah.
Now, if you don't sign DHop, what are you going to do?
Well, then it's confirmed that Rand and Vrabel actually don't know what a receiver is, and they just completely forgot receivers exist. I'm almost convinced of it at this point. Like, they waited until the 7th round to draft one, and then they're like, oh, just wait for all the cuts on Monday. And then Monday came, and there were no cuts, and there we were again.
They're going to wait till the Texans cut a receiver and grab him because, they
Robert
love the
Woods.
Texans.
Paging Robert Woods, yeah.
Robert Woods full circle again. If they don't sign DeAndre Hopkins, they're banking on Chig and Traylon to have monster years. And
Yikes.
that's
2,000 yards receiving each.
I hope that happens.
Oh my God.
Because that's the only way that's
Not
gonna
one,
work.
but two.
Exactly.
I like it. It's provocative. Gets the people going. All right. All right, Matt, tell me one player from the Texans who should have a chip on their shoulder.
Derek Stingley Jr.
Okay.
Everybody thought we should have picked Sauce over him, which I don't think so. I think Lovie Smith's scheme
take.
hurt him. It hurt him really bad with his own defense. So now that he gets to play man, that's where he was great in college at. So this is the year for him to finally show that he is on the same level as Juice, if not better.
I just want to check it. It's only his second year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Second
Well,
year.
I don't know if you know this yet, Matt, but Chris Ballard says playing corner in the league is very hard. So you got to give him some time.
He drops a lot. He drops a lot of dimes like that in his
Listen,
pressers.
guys,
Yeah.
playing corner
Wow.
in this league, it's hard. It's hard. Man.
You don't say, well, man, that's valuable knowledge. Valuable knowledge.
So you got to give him some time because it's hard. Okay.
All right, Chris. One player with a chip on their shoulder.
I'm gonna say Michael Pittman Jr.
I like that.
He's in a contract year, but then also there's no way that he doesn't hear the rumblings about people questioning whether or not he's the number one. I think he has. I think it's going to be equal parts as him kind of having to redeem himself because he left a lot on the field last season. He had some drops. He had some issues in games where there were games that could have been won. But also, I think, even going back to the year before last, he made some great strides and he played against those guys who are considered some of those number ones in the league and actually did pretty well. But people still are looking at him like, yeah, you have to draft another wide receiver and he'd be a great number two, but he's not number one. I think it's just like you don't go into this season, which is a contract year, and say, nah, I'm just going to do what I did last year. No, he has a lot to prove because he's either going to ball out and potentially have a contract comparable to some of those guys in the top 10, or he's going to end up failing and then you don't know whether or not he's coming back.
Okay. I like it.
That was
All
a
right,
hot take,
Sam.
my son. Good job, my son. So, I mean, I feel like this is obvious. And you can tell your husband, I'm sorry, but Calvin Ridley, come on. He's coming back into the league, had to ask for reinstatement, and then, people didn't learn their lesson. Colts. Oh,
Wow.
sorry. I'm sorry.
Shots fired.
I thought you were gonna say Deshaun Watson, but I'm glad you didn't go that way. So
Oh my God, that is he who should not be named. Why are we still talking about him, Matt? God.
Right.
Anyway, he's got something to prove. Like I had to beg to come back. He came out with that letter, pretty much explaining like the headspace he was at. And to be honest, prior to that, I mean, of course I was excited that we signed him, but reading that letter, it was like, wow, that's like deep, like it. And you could tell that he's like, I'm ready to prove that I deserve to be here, And so I'm excited. I'm excited for that. And I think he's going to come out and show them why he deserves that second chance.
So Sam, you're saying the chip on his shoulder is really a poker chip, or I mean, what are we looking for with that?
Maybe it was, but not anymore. He's learned his lesson. Right, Colts?
Listen, he's going to end up with 100 receptions and possibly hitting 100 of his parlays this year. I would put money on that.
The best part about that whole story is I love the fact that he made a bet against the Jaguars, and then the Jaguars are the one giving him the second chance. Like, come on, that's so funny.
It's romantic. It's poetic.
It really is. It's poetic justice. I love it. Thank you.
Oh my goodness. All right, so I'm going to give you one. I'm actually going to answer this question myself. My one player to have a chip on their shoulder is Jelani Woods for the Colts. So, yeah. So I've been on the like, hey, you need somebody to be the guy in the tight end room since we lost Jack Doyle. You missed the blocking abilities of Jack Doyle. You missed the sure hands of Jack Doyle. Obviously prior to, him kind of going down with injuries towards the end. The issue is you're not getting what you thought you were going to get out of Mo Alley Cox. And the only reason you paid him is because he's not Jack Doyle. And so you went out and drafted Jelani Woods. You've got Kylan Granson. You've got Drew Ogletree. We are swimming in tight ends. You got Will Mallory. Like, you have a ton of tight ends. But the one guy who I think could potentially, essentially break open that tight end room is Jelani Woods. Humongous dude. He's 6'7", 240 plus. He is massive. And he already outproduced Mo in his rookie year. And he was used highly inconsistently.
Yeah, that pesky game flow.
Yeah, criminally
Can't find
underutilized.
Thanks, Frank Reich.
He's got he's got big play abilities as well. You'll see that big burst from him, the ability to make 30, 40 yard plays. That's what I want to see. And I think if you could get an extra security blanket in the tight end room for Anthony Richardson, you're doing yourself a really, really solid justice. And he's a really good red zone threat too. I really wish that they would have done that more. You saw it in the Chiefs game where he practically like bullied people in the end zone, and you didn't see it again. So like you knew it was there and you just didn't see it again. So it's very frustrating watching this like potential guy who you knew could potentially completely wreck a game, and they just didn't utilize him as well as they should. So there's my guy. All right.
Real quick, go for it. Mind because my computer thought it was funny to restart in the middle of this. I real quick, Chris Jackson said Michael Pittman Jr. I'm gonna go ahead and go out on a limb and say Michael Pittman Jr. is a very good number 2, and the Colts still don't have a number 1.
Ooh.
That's fair because I would also say this: he was never drafted to be a number 1. Like you got to remember that, right? That. Like he was always drafted to be a number 2. The idea was that T.Y. Hilton would continue to be the number 1, but T.Y.'s injuries kind of derailed that.
Yep.
And he was thrust into this number 1
age
position.
Maybe.
Well, yeah, I mean, age, yeah, but I mean, T.Y. had these horrific injuries. Like, I don't know if you've heard him talk about it. He talked about, hey, I woke up one day and an entire side of my body I couldn't feel. So that is like he was talking about retiring because it was that bad. So, and when this was before, all that happened, like his injuries were starting to add up, that sort of thing. So I think when they drafted Michael Pittman, it was like, oh, okay, yeah, he can be, the Robin to T.Y.'s, Batman, so to speak. But then that happened and it was like, oh goodness, now he's got to be Batman. So you need I always tell people to keep that in mind, that like he wasn't drafted to be the number 1. He just kind of was thrust there, and he's had to stay there because there's no other options on the team to kind of be the number 1 option or balance out having to put so much on him. So you hope it's Alec Pierce though, but again, time will tell. All right. So this is the part of the podcast we're going to call the post-game presser. So we like to ask questions that are either sports related and or not. I'm going to open up the floor to anybody who has a good question. We will do our best to answer. I don't know who somebody. I thought I saw somebody had their hand up. Sam, you look like you have a good question.
Actually, I don't. Skip me. I'm still thinking.
I gotta get one for Megan.
I bet I know what his question is.
Why you're a Houston native? Why are you such a traitor?
That's a great
start.
question.
That's a good, easy one to start with. Yeah, I like that.
The funny thing is I get asked this a lot. And so for anybody who doesn't know, yes, I'm originally from Texas. I was born and raised in Houston. My family is from there. My mom's side is from there. My dad's side is from Waco. My mom is from Fifth Ward.
Wow.
So
okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So dad's side of the family. Dad's side of the family is from Waco. They met in college, and of course, hey, we lived there until I was a kid, and then we moved here. So here's the thing. I grew up watching a lot of Dallas Cowboys football. Lot of Dallas Cowboys.
Sorry to hear that.
And again, I grew up in the whole Troy Aikman and Emmitt Smith area, Michael Irvin, I grew up in that era. But as I got older, you stopped seeing that kind of football. And I just didn't want that kind of pain in my life. And so I started, finding another team to watch. And as I got older and in high school, and of course, I'm getting smarter. I'm now like, oh, okay, yeah, I need a team. Lo and behold, the Colts are doing this ridiculous march to the Super Bowl. They're playing the Bears in the Super Bowl. And I remember being at a Super Bowl party, and the entire house is going for the Bears. And I was like, I'm going to pick the Colts. Like, cool, why not? So, of course, I'm not going to lie, they had us in the first half. But
all that matters is 0-0-0.
Hey, but Colts ended up winning that Super Bowl. And I'll tell you this, the main reason why I was hooked was because Peyton Manning. It didn't matter what you put on the other side of the field. He had already diagnosed and he was going to shred you anyways. And they don't call him the sheriff for nothing. So I remember, of course, starting then, and then just keep going. So when Peyton Manning left, I was still here. Andrew Luck is coming on, still here. We've got 90 billion quarterbacks since then, still here. And I can hold my own against my family and their pain that they have from being Texans fans and Cowboys fans. And so I do have a nice little Super Bowl to look at. Especially for my my Houston family who likes to give me grief. I just start pull up the Super Bowl conversation and nobody wants to talk about that. So
no.
It's a good
conversation. No, they go to the classic. That was 20 years ago.
That was 20 years ago. It doesn't matter.
That's a great question coming from Matt, who was a closet Cardinals fan for about 2 years.
For a year and a half.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. Just
And
your
lives
fact.
in Kansas City and probably was down celebrating.
Wow.
Yeah.
Kansas City. Matt, I am shocked at you.
I trust me, I hate this place. Like I wish I could leave, but I can't. So happy
Hate
wife,
this
happy
place.
life. So,
I hate this
yeah.
place. I can't leave. Help
I
me.
can't believe they win so much here. I hate it so much.
I hate it
Damn.
here.
Patrick
Well,
Mahomes is
I
the
would've
worst
been caught.
quarterback in the NFL.
Look, guys, I'm about to rage quit. Okay, if y'all don't leave me alone, I will rage quit.
No, Matt. When you went to the NFL draft, what did you tell me that you wore down there?
His Patrick.
Oh,
Mahomes shirt,
my
jersey.
Brittany Mahomes t-shirt.
Oh,
Brittany Mahomes
It says I can't say the other words, but it says I'm Brittany beep. But
Yeah.
Oh, that's classic.
Closet.
That's-
Matt.
it's a
Right
joke.
there.
But yeah,
if that's not fandom, I don't know what is.
It's a joke.
You're not rooting for the player. You're rooting for the player's spouse.
yeah.
What a
that's all
good
right.
guy.
That is dedication.
That's
All right.
dedication.
What other questions do you guys have?
I have a question. I figured out my question.
Go
It's
for it.
not football related.
Okay.
Gee, Sam. No, go for it. That's what.
If
Gee,
you
Sam
had a
represents.
song that was like your theme song every time you walked into a room, what would it be?
Oh, like a walk-up song in baseball, like that kind of.
Like, walk up song, or if like you walk into a room and all of a sudden that's the song that starts playing. It's like your theme song.
Oh.
Oh man, that's tough.
Oh, that's a. Oh. Okay, I need to think about this.
It better be T.I. song because you live in Atlanta. I'm just saying.
It's not. It's
Mine
really
is with Arms
Well-
Wide Open by Creed.
Yes.
Some dad rock going on.
With arms wide
Yes.
open.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great.
That's awesome.
That's funny.
Okay, so this is probably gonna throw everyone for a loop, but it's only because I listened to this album the other day and I forgot how good it was. I'm gonna say "Harder to Breathe" by Maroon 5.
Yo,
Um,
that is a great.
That's a great.
That is a
really,
great.
it's really good. Like if you go back and listen to that "Songs About Jane" album, like that is classic Maroon 5. And
Yeah,
"Harder
yeah.
to Breathe" is that hard hitting. You got the drums, the bass in the front of the song, and he basically talks about like, hey, watch your step because if you do, you need a miracle, like that sort of thing. Like I'm a really good person. I will say this, really good
Yeah.
person, but I'm not the one to mess with. I have certain things where I'm really fierce about, like my family and my friends and folks I care about and good people. So yeah, it's like tread lightly
like,
over here.
Alan Levine is a piece of crap human being, but he is a great musician. So I give you that.
you know, there are a lot of folks like that in the world where you're like, oh, I don't, who they are as a
Yep.
person does not align with
No
me. but
thanks.
Yeah.
Kanye
they
fan.
make- they
Kanye
make-
fan.
Listen,
Oh, I love
Kanye fan.
listen,
Oh,
before
sorry.
I was gonna say old Kanye, yeah,
Old
like
school Kanye,
graduation,
Ugh.
college
Man.
dropout, yes,
Ooh,
that
dropout, yeah.
version
808.
of Kanye, yes.
Listen, I might get canceled for this. But every day that I wake up for work, I play "Good Morning" by Kanye West.
It's a great song.
It's a good
It is a
song.
good
It's
song.
a good song.
That's
It's
fine.
a good song.
That album
good
is
song.
one of my favorites.
I miss you, Kanye.
Yeah, I love that Kanye. Dark Twisted Fantasy Kanye isn't bad either, right? I think
It's
that's it
not.
went downhill from there.
Yeah, it's
That
like at the top of the hill, but it's starting to decline
It's
now.
starting
Like
to
you're
decline,
over
yeah.
the yeah.
The
yeah.
slope's
Yeah.
coming.
That was the last like I don't know, remnants of Kanye is still in there a little bit, like
Yep.
the old Kanye that we know. So
We're
I'm
we're
not
we're
mad
kind
at
of
it.
Kanye.
tick 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 reeling them back in a little bit. Tick tick
Yeah.
tick tick tick
Yeah.
tick.
Come on back, bud.
Like a
Come on
slow
back.
wooden
Thanks.
roller coaster.
Please
It
come
takes
back.
a really, really long
Chugga,
time.
chugga, 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 chugga. All right, so who's got another song? So somebody else answer Sam's question. Anybody
Let's go-
got anything?
First
James.
off,
I don't
songs about James.
I want to hear what the
James-
I want to hear
James
what the
was
Titans
dope.
fan says.
But
Go ahead,
no,
Chris.
go ahead, James. Yeah, go ahead, James.
Oh, a song that would play.
Any Isaiah Wilson song because he dropped a mean.
Whatever he was
G.G.
listening to on that boat. Guys, this is hard. This is,
It's hard.
It's a really good question. Yeah.
It's a very good question.
And I already took the best answer, so you're
look,
kind of
since-
screwed.
since he
I
can't-
can't-
Since he doesn't know, I'll say mine. I gotta go.
you
South
go ahead.
Side,
Let me think.
South Side by Lil Kiki.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I see you, Houston. I see you.
Or Still Tipping, one of those two.
Listen, Still Tipping was my backup, so don't even get me started. I still
Yeah.
play that song regularly.
Can I change mine to
Listen,
Sitting
no.
Sideways?
Hey,
Yeah.
Look,
Listen.
the Texans were so bad. I had to get a custom-made jersey with the number 44 and Still Tipping on the name because my team sucked so bad.
Yeah.
The other day I was talking to somebody, right? And they asked for my phone number. And I was like, yeah, it's 281-330-8004. And they were like, what's that? And I was like, excuse me?
Yes.
Tell them,
That'd be a
tell
good
them
one,
to call
too,
Mike
yeah.
Jones. Tell them
I was
to
like,
call
that's Mike
Jones.
Jones. Who's Mike Jones? And I was like, how
Who?
old are you?
Exactly. Who?
Like,
What?
Jesus.
Oh my goodness, that's
Offensive.
funny. All right, James, did you think of your
Yeah.
song?
give me the Bittersweet Symphony by the Verve.
Yes,
Oh,
that's a
yeah.
great
All
one.
right.
All right.
Love that
Okay.
song.
All right.
All right.
It's a good
That,
one.
that explains my
Alright.
Titans fandom to a T, too.
Right?
To a
Yeah.
T.
Chris, what you got? I think you had a song too, right?
There's two, and I don't mean to be that guy, but if I'm going with two of them,
It's going to be Wu-Tang.
Country S by Big Crit, but only the remix
Yes.
with
Ooh, that's a great song.
UGK, or not UGK, but with
Yes.
Bun B and Ludacris.
Okay.
And the second one
Love
is
that one.
actually a fairly new song. It's it was off of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse soundtrack. It's called "What's Up, Danger."
Mhm.
That one
Banger of a
is
song. That song.
Yeah.
Not a Wu-Tang song?
So I was gonna actually.
I'm
So I was gonna say Triumph, but then I thought I was just like, dang, like which one would I really go with? But it's like between those first two, I will sit in the car
It's
and
him.
just go ham.
That's who didn't know who Mike Jones was.
Oh, this guy who doesn't know who Mike Jones is.
Yes.
He ratted himself out.
That's him.
Oh, I'm
What?
cracking up. I'm
Yeah.
cracking up.
Mhm.
Come
What's
on,
Up
Birdman.
Danger is an awesome song. I love that song.
Yeah, I
What's
am-
Up Danger is.
I am
it's-
shocked that you didn't pick Wu-Tang.
It
I
was
thought I knew
honestly,
I thought I knew
it was
my
gonna
son
be-
better than that.
Yeah,
It was
you know?
gonna
We
be.
need
because
to
It was
bond.
gonna be Triumph.
Yeah.
It was
I
gonna
mean,
know,
this
be.
this-
is
It was gonna be
burning the light
Triumph.
every day.
This
It
is
was
a
gonna be
children's
Triumph.
show, and Wu-Tang's for the children. So come on, get with the program.
Hey, you have to understand, presidents are temporary, but Wu-Tang is forever. Like
Forever.
that's what it is.
All right. We got time for one more question. Who wants to ask the last question?
Oh, Michael Newsom, that's a heartbreaking comment. That's heartbreaking.
He said Mike Jones is a terrible thing to say around Titans fans. That's who tackled Dyson
Oh.
1 yard short.
Oh my God! Hold on. Can somebody needs to Matt? We
Oh
gotta
my
clip
God.
that. We
That
gotta
is
clip
funny.
that.
I'll get it.
Oh my
I'll get it. I can
God.
clip it.
Mike
into-
Jones. Who? Mike Jones.
Oh,
That's
God.
so good. I'm gonna put it back up just for good measure. I will read this again to
Guys.
you. I will read this again to you, James.
Oh.
Mike Jones is a terrible thing to say around Titans fans. That's who tackled Dyson 1 yard short in Super Bowl.
Who?
That's I'm getting hold of Mike Jones, the rapper, and be like, hey, look, we need you on the AFC South.
We're gonna need you to
can just
voice
roast.
over
We
this.
all
need
the
you.
time.
We need you.
We will probably never see this again, but James, I feel bad for you. That cut me deep for
That
you.
was, thank you, Chris.
Jesus
Thank you.
Only say one
That was
part of
a
it.
deep
Hey,
cut.
boy,
Just
boy.
boom.
James, I must say, I have never been happier on a podcast. I'm so happy that the Titans got. Thank you.
No, but the thing is, James is kind of similar to John Ha. If this was RJ, I would still be laughing at him. I would have got up and laughed at him in the camera, like in 4K. James seems reasonable enough. Like he's
RJ called.
you relate to somebody named John Quater, whatever his last name is, because I don't know, man. Like he's.
No, he's not.
James is a reasonable Titans fan. Like
I'm very
No,
reasonable.
I was gonna
He's
say
He's one of the few, actually.
he's kind of in
There's
the
not very
middle
many of us.
because RJ is uber positive. Like he called Trevor Lawrence long-haired Kirk Cousins today, and I was like, all caps. Now you've done it. But and then you have John Ha, who's ultra negative. So I like James is like in the middle. I like it. It's a breath of fresh
Very
air.
realistic. I will get
Yes.
real. When we play the Colts, you'll hear me barking, but I'm very realistic.
I will say this.
I mean, fair. I can see why
He
you did
says,
it.
he says, Sam, why would you call me out like that?
Oh no! She was like,
I will
so quick too. It's like
I will
oh,
say
that's
this
it.
about James. I will say this about James and John. You never see them in the same room, so it could be the same person.
You never know, man.
Could be.
Nah,
Could be.
he's not negative enough. He's not
Right.
negative enough.
My alter
Hey.
ego.
Yeah, and I don't think James works for the government like John Hall does.
That's true.
No,
Agent
I
Hall.
hate it.
Yeah, John
I'm not
Howard.
sneaky enough. I'm not sneaky enough.
All right, guys. So I think we actually probably, we've been in here for an hour and 15. I think we probably could keep going if I let you guys, but I want to make sure that I cut the podcast here so that we have some really good content. And yeah, we have some good clips. There's multiple that will be coming out of this episode, including
Is
the
it-
Mike Jones reference.
Are you gonna have part one, the all about Sam Hayton podcast, and then part two?
I might pull some of that. Yeah.
I got your
Same
number.
haters.
I got your number, Chris Jackson.
All right,
I
guys.
bet you
so
do.
I'm gonna start from the top. Kev, tell the people where they can find you on the internets.
All right. You can find me on Twitter at @KevNevic_, but I'd much prefer it if you just followed me over on Bite Size Sports on our YouTube channel. That's where you can see me and this guy next to me, although I'll let him finish the pitch because I'm going to hand it over to James. But you can find me and James or James and I multiple times a week over at Bite Size Sports. James, what day should they talk basketball with us?
Thursdays at 9 p.m. We got to
That's
talk.
right.
Nuggets won the championship this week, Kev. We got business to talk about. We got the draft.
No, we
coming
got
up in 2
receipts
weeks.
to cash in.
lot of
sir.
receipts we got to cash in. So every Thursday, 9 p.m., you can catch me on Twitter. Let's see if I can do it. There it is. Schmeitz06. That's all my socials. So, Megan, thank you for the invite. I appreciate it.
Yeah, this has been fun. Fun. All right, Matt, tell the people where they can find you on the internet.
Yeah, you can find me at A1 Day One Texans. Also on the Fan Battle Sports Network. And Wednesday nights, you find me on the Texans Fan Battle with BT and Crenshaw. And on Sundays, I got to put up with this right here with these guys. So
You're welcome.
Yeah.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
As you can tell, it's a blast. But yeah, make sure you follow us, guys. There's some good content.
Got you. All right, Harish, tell the people where they can find you.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter and everywhere else at the Uncle Gandhi. And then I'm also on the Fan Battle Sports Sundays with the AFC South Fan Battle podcast. And now Tuesday nights with Chris Jackson and the Colts crew on the Horseshoe Mob podcast.
Oh, they let you stay. Oh, okay. All right.
They're like, you know what? You are the premium content. So we call ourselves the premium content. You truly
Okay.
bring the premium.
You put the premium
Game
in the
recognized game,
content.
baby.
Yeah.
Game recognized game, baby.
All right, Sam, tell the people where they can find you.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram on Sammy Football with an I. And of course, on Sunday nights on AFC South Fan Battle podcast, and sometimes on Thursdays on the Jaguars Fan Battle. I let the guys kind of steer that, but I guess I get enough Jaguars talk in since I'm the non-biased host on Sunday nights, right, Chris Jackson?
You said it, not me.
The non-biased host.
All right, Chris, tell the people where they can find you.
You can find me on Twitter at TJ Coltsfan, at www.fanbattlesports.com, Sports Network, same thing. We're actually about to go live right after this at the Horseshoe Mob podcast that normally goes on at 9:30 Eastern on Tuesdays. And when I'm not doing that, I'm usually tearing Sam away from the Jalen Ramsey poster in her bedroom to make sure that she doesn't continue to rub the thing off. So
Listen,
yeah.
you're grounded when this episode is over, sir. Grounded.
Hey, just because you like to lock your door and play the crying game while looking at Jalen Ramsey poster doesn't have anything to do with me.
It's Leonard Fournette, actually.
It's the Super Bowl that she thought she was going to get.
Exactly.
Oh my goodness. She's going to end the episode with hater blockers on. All right. So
I mean, she had a White Claw while we were recording.
I feel like that's on brand, right? That's on brand for Sam.
Right?
Yeah, she was feeling hardcore. It was great.
I'm picking up. All right. So you can find me on Twitter. It's at the Megan Hall. Same thing on Instagram. It's Hall About Sports Pod, POD on the tick of the talk, as the kids say. I think I've done all that. Yeah, all the things. Hallaboutsports.com for this podcast and all the written content too. That's also passion projects. So that's things I just feel like ranting about. Really nice stories that I want to share from sports that I'm passionate about. I just put it in organized space now, so you don't have to see me ranting from, my Twitter account now. You can go to allaboutsports.com and figure that out. All right. I want to thank all of you for jumping on and hanging out with us for an hour and 20 minutes now at this point. This was definitely fun. We will have to do this again, probably again towards the season once it gets going, because I'm sure James is going to want to, cry his eyes out if the Titans don't get DHop. Because that's going to be a terrible start to the season when they don't win 6 games immediately. But I just wanted to make sure that I put that out on the internet for everybody. But as always, you've been listening to the Hall About Sports podcast, where the sports are real, the sounds of the game are real, and yes, the stories are real too. We will see you next episode. Peace out.
Thank you for having us, Megan. Sam, love
Thank you, Megan.
Thank you.